JB here. October 2nd, 2024, about 34 minutes to open. Talk really quick about the market, some updates, and go from there. But take a look at the futures down just a hair. S&P futures down about 10%. That's after yesterday's sell-off. It's funny. Yeah, yesterday afternoon and overnight and this morning, you start reading some pieces of folks are citing the pullback to the port strike, right? So hey, maybe they pretty much saying that even without the missile attack from Iran, markets would still have closed. The sell-off would have still happened. It was immaterial to the market's move. Uh, it was pretty much coincided. The pullback coincided with the reports coming out that there was an imminent missile attack from Iran. So say what you will. I mean, markets closed at highs, S&P and Dow on Monday. So to think there wasn't going to be profit taking at some point, that's one part of the equation. And then geopolitical concerns, the port strike, started a new month and quarter. I mean, there's a lot of different factors and ingredients for what happened yesterday, but markets found some support. So things, and I put on a watch this morning, and I was talking about yesterday afternoon. The spies come down to hit 570 on Friday and bounced, 568 on Monday and bounced, and 566 yesterday and bounced. I hope it's not going for a quadfecta here and we test 564 on the spy. So hopefully that's not a trend. Markets can find some footing. If we do find some pressure, hold 566 or so. Um, it's you can make, I think I was saying yes, but you can make this whole narrative around what a great opportunity right now for markets to pull, right? I mean, there's so many different factors going in. We have an election coming in 33, 34 days. Uh, just all these different scenarios that could possibly be construed as negative for the market. So we'll have to see. I also put on a watch this morning. It's like I've only made one entry trade. I exited Baidu calls on Monday, but it's one of those things where I'll just kind of like sit on my hands for now. Sometimes not making a trade is a good trade, right? I mean, it stinks. Of course, I want to be making lots of trades, but I have to have conviction in some names. So that's kind of how I'm going to play it here today. If we hold if we do get some weakness, we hold 566. Maybe there'll be a playable bounce. So that's another thing I'll be watching. But I'm just not going to be chasing some things here. And then we have the jobs report on Friday. We also have uh, the kickoff earnings season next week, October 11th, I believe it's the banks, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo, Citi. This morning, ADP number came out. It was a tad above expectations. So sometimes people look at that ADP jobs report and construe it as negative or positive, kind of projected for the jobs report that's coming out on Friday. So if you use that number, you would say, wow, the jobs report's going to be pretty strong. So start taking away some of the possible recession narrative that's going on as well. All right, so that's the overall market. So the SPY just hopefully it holds 566 here today. If we do get some weakness, there's no more geopolitical tensions. A nice little slide too. I think I found it on Market Watch this morning or yesterday, or some events that have happened over the years, crises or geopolitical events, and the performance of the market. So the S&P's one-day performance, and then the total drawdown for the event, how long it took for the market to sell off, if it did, and how long that took, and the percentage, and then how many days to recovery. So some good slides here. And if you take a look, if there's a escalation in tensions in the geopolitical situation in the Middle East, and Iran, Israel do have some a conflict, a major conflict, it's a guarantee the market's going to pull back, just a matter how much. So nice little slide, helps keep it in context. But I mean, it goes to say every one of these events. I mean, we're close at record highs on Monday, so it's been higher ever since. All right, so that's overall markets. Small caps sold off over 1% yesterday, so hopefully those find some footing. And then the amount of stocks over their 50-day moving average dipped a little bit, down to what it hit 80. 79% of the stocks on the S&P are over their 50-day moving average. So still in an uptrend. So as long as that stays on the right path, we're still in an uptrend. All right, so individual names. So overnight, so the China markets closed for Golden Week holiday. That doesn't mean that the Hong Kong markets aren't open. So they are open, and the Hang Seng was up over 6% yesterday. I think it's like 33% over the last 12 days. Just a monster move, and then you start putting up some historical comparisons of the biggest moves it's had. And I think the Hong Kong markets were up like 78% in a 12-day span back in 1980. I don't know. I don't know that. I wasn't old enough to remember, but you take a look. The China ADRs and Baidu was up at 119 this morning at about 6:30. Baidu was up over 117. They're pulling back just a little bit. Win was over $100 here just a little while ago. It's kind of dipped a little bit. Hopefully that holds its ground. But I got some more win strikes yesterday. If it, I, 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 I think 105 this week is possible. So hopefully, if it gets over 100 at the open, the 105s will be up solidly green. I can lock some in to cover costs and ride the rest, and then I'll just hold the 115s. Call me crazy, but if this trend continues, I I think Win hasn't reacted as much as some of the other names, and probably it should, especially if the economy's getting this bazooka stimulus. It's only be bullish for Macau and some of the casino names in that area. So that's why I like Win. I'll continue to like Win for upside. 105 first this week, and then possibly 115 in the coming weeks. Call me crazy. You start looking at the longer term chart too. Back in April, hit 109 and change. So that'd be another big spot if it does break 105. So those would be two spots we'll be watching on Win. SE, nice rally yesterday, up over 3%. Still think this is heading $100 and possibly a 110 or so in the coming weeks. The last of my 100 October strikes are up nearly over 500%. I'll just hold those for now. If it gets over $100, I'll look to get some more strikes, and then maybe I'll close out the Octobers and look for some Novembers. Really love the story. I'm not going to go on a rant on SC here. Redfin, higher highs, higher lows. That's been my mantra over the last week or so. Hopefully that mantra continues. It holds $12. It should be good to go. At some point, it's going to break over 15. Once it does, I'll get some more strikes. Then 17.60, then $20. Roku had that upgrade yesterday morning. It was a negative analyst, so it was bearish. Came out with a neutral rating, upgraded from sell. The stock looked like it was going to break out in the morning. It was at 76, and it gave the gains back, closed in the red. I was looking at some strikes in the afternoon. The 80s look interesting on a risk reward basis if the market finds some footing. And then the October 18, 85 strikes, that would kind of encompass the Netflix earnings. So could be a name I look for if the market does find some footing. But again, I'm probably going to be very cautious today. And then Biogen, disappointing. I would say it was only down 1%, but I'm looking for a 2 to 3% move to the upside to get the calls back into the green. If it shows some strength, I'll add some November strikes. Right now, I'll just be patient. And then on the flip side, and I was looking for some hedge puts. I talked about trying to get some hedge puts if the market found some weakness. I was looking at Lamb Research. The premium is just insane on a risk reward basis. And then if you do get the puts amidst all the volatility, and then we get a bounce, the premiums just get crushed. ServiceNow, another name I was looking for some inexpensive hedge puts. Even though we're only 4 days to expiration, they're still pricey. As we get closer to Friday, it might make more sense to get some hedge puts. So don't be surprised, especially if we break 566 on the SPY in the morning. I may look for some hedge puts. Also on Visa, I was looking for Visa hedge puts. When Visa got an upgrade yesterday, it was actually rallying counter trend to the market. So when the market was selling off, Visa was hitting highs. So it's probably going to bounce another day or two. Once it looks like it might have found some resistance, could be a name I get back in on the put side. I think that's it. Don't look now. ENVX announced that they shipped samples from their Malaysia factory. Again, no customer names. It just says customers. So the stock is rallying on more BS press releases. No quantities, no geographic locations, no nothing. Just another BS press release. They did this press release back in the spring at their Fremont facility, right? And they said, "Oh, we ship customer samples to customers of the EXM from Fremont," and the stock gapped higher. But then all of a sudden they said on their earnings call that the customers don't want samples from Fremont, which they shut that factory down. So now they want from Malaysia, and all of a sudden they're sending samples from Malaysia. Anyway, I have a feeling that story is going to keep going on and on and on. Still have some October puts. I'm not going to add anything on that yet, but I wouldn't be surprised down to 690 at some point. All right, rants for other days. Let's have a great day. 25 minutes to the open. Rock and roll.